viewers, listeners out there. Good to be with you all on a Thursday.
Need and our clients also, but moving on. Rotus, let's get this one in quickly. It was a marathon day. Nobody envisaged it was going to be a marathon for Nigeria when they woke up yesterday. It was more like probably maybe a 4 hours thing, and then we are done and we move on. But we're going to see. We don't know what the Guinness Book of Record will be saying, but we didn't write them that we're going to do this, so we don't know if they would reckon that, and it should be given officially to us yet. But Rotus, so long a judgment. Take me on this one, Rotus. How did the market react?
Well, the stock market closed before the judgment was reached. Market closed at about, I think, 2:30 in the afternoon, and that judgment kept going till late evening. So, but the market was down about that's the stock market, about 70 basis points. I'm not sure if the markets really paid attention to this because I think, a lot of people didn't think they were going to be surprised by the outcome. I think a lot of that was already priced in. So, the stock market is down. It's still up about 29, almost 30% for the year. But I think it was more of a muted response from the markets.
Okay, that's as Nigerians react to the declaration of President Tinubu as duly elected by the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal in Abuja yesterday. So how do you think the foreign investors would react to this verdict?
Well, again, I don't think they would have expected much. I think it was already something a lot of people expected. And for them, from a policy standpoint, even if the tribunal had reversed the decision, Article OB, from a policy standpoint, they didn't really differ much from Tinubu. I mean, they all three had the same views on fuel subsidies. All three had the same view on foreign exchange. So for foreign investors looking to invest in Nigeria, I don't think you would have gotten, even if they reversed it, maybe there'll be you have to think about delays because there's already a cabinet and all these other things. But from a policy standpoint, not much difference between the three men. So it's not a situation where you would expect, if it was like a Sowore that was in there now, you're like, okay, well, things are going to be turned upside down or turned in a different direction. So, I don't think, I think their reaction is just, okay, it's still the same thing that's on ground in terms of policy decisions that have been made.
All right, let's let the clients know that they can be part of our conversation this morning. They are now. So they can just send in messages to the phone line 0809-444-0981, WhatsApp messages only. Once again, 0809-444-0981. Expecting your messages to come into any of these items we're looking at on Business Express this morning. Well, this is also coming at a time where the president is in India, far away India, speaking to investors. And we hear that so far, about $14 billion has been gotten in terms of pledges now. And well, this is looking like the government is walking the talk in terms of winning investors to the country.
Yeah, but I'm glad you said pledges because that is the operative word here. They're just promises that have been made from potential investors in India. So one company made an $8 billion pledge, another made a $3 billion, another 1.6 billion here and there. So it's not a guarantee that those funds will come through. But it is encouraging that, like I said yesterday or the day before, at least they tried. And the thing is, the president led from the front. He went there, met with, the necessary, they had the roundtable. There's the business roundtable that they had. So this was planned already ahead of this G20 summit. And they went there with a plan, they executed the plan. And so now the thing is, whatever those investors want to see in return for their funds, that is what is going to be, very important going forward, from addressing issues of power, insecurity, and so on and so forth. But the operative word is pledge. So that credit alert is not going to appear overnight.
Well, I see the visuals here again. It's looking like you mentioned, Ellen. I've just seen the picture you sent across of the president, in the midst of businessmen, portfolio holders, in India, and leading from the front, like you said. This, for optics, this looks good. You can't fault it.
Yeah.
But again, what does he say about businessmen? If you were not going to invest, why don't you just come up front? Why do we have to just look nice, and then when I turn my back, you're not really coming to invest? So why do businessmen go about with this attitude of pledges if they can't follow it up?
Yeah, because investing is risky, and you can lose your investments. As we speak right now, Nigeria has a backlog of FX obligations for companies who can't get their money out. So you can imagine somebody that has hearing of the news of other companies that can't repatriate their funds out of Nigeria because there's not enough dollars. They might be hesitant. So it's a courtship process, if you will, or whatever. You meet, you say nice things, you make promises. The other person can make a pledge and say, okay, well, I can give this to you in a year or two, but I also have my concerns and I want to see certain things before I put my money forward. So, nobody's going to just, Nigeria has lots of investment promise from our population and so on and so on, but, there's some things that need to be turned around before we see hardcore money coming in. But again, this was my target for them. I said, you got to come back. You can't come back like Shettima, when Shettima went to Johannesburg and was sharing pictures of a library, or what was he doing there? This is what you do when you travel.
Rotus, why do you don't like leaders that read? If they can't read, if they can't read, they won't lead.
You can read at home. We have libraries here in Nigeria. There's a big library in Aso Rock. I read there. But if you're traveling on taxpayer money, you got to come, and you're going for a summit with foreign people there. Come back with some money. That's what, or at least a promise to get money. That's what we want you to do. Don't send pictures of books.
Okay. Rotus, before I leave this area we are dredging right now, Gopi Chad has talked about investing some money in the auto industry in Nigeria. I'd like you to speak on that a bit.
Yeah. So the presidency has said that they want to get CNG buses, right? And they want them to be scaled across the country in order to offset the impact of higher fuel prices. So they've been talking about gas. We want to have factories here that make automobiles. Ghana, if I remember correctly, famously got a deal while at the Tokyo Africa Summit 2-3 years ago, where Toyota, I believe, or one other company agreed to come and set up a plant in Ghana. So if Gopi Chat is coming to assemble these buses or set up assembly plants here, then that's going to be, you're going to get jobs, you're going to get, knowledge transfer and so on and so forth. So you need announcements like that. Now, but what do you need to set up an assembly plant? There's the issue of steel, power, skilled workers, and so on and so forth. So he's made the pledge, but he's going to want to see certain things before we move forward. But it's a promising development there.
And now let's touch on power, because this is very crucial also if we want the investments to come in. So this brings us to the other news in this story here. We understand the prepaid meters in Nigeria prices are going up. What's the details about this?
Yeah, so the government through the NERC, it was an announcement came from an official document from the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission. It was signed by the chairman of the commission, Sanusi Garba, and it said that like a single phase meter, which measures electricity for smaller homes, will now cost 81,975. Before it was 58,000 naira. I think the 3-phase meter for bigger homes will cost 143,000 from 109. They're saying that, look, they have to price these things appropriately because of the companies that provide them. exchange rates has to definitely factor in there because a number of these things are imported, and the NERC is basically saying that the meters have to be priced fairly for the companies that provide them. Which I mean, when I think about that, and I think about players in the downstream sector that sell fuel, and you want to talk about pricing something fairly, I won't get into that, but that is basically what the government is saying as far as the meters are concerned. So,
no, but then
yeah.
Rotus, bring us up to speed. There was this promise to roll out mass metering. How has it fared?
They've only done like 1 million. The meter asset provider scheme. I guess it's one of the 4 frameworks in the regulation for the provision of meters to end users. But we don't make them, so we don't make them here. They have to be. I mean, I know that they were talking about manufacturing them here, but they're not manufacturing them. Look, everything in Nigeria, because of your large population, I think there are like 10 million metered customers in Nigeria. So at last I checked, as far as the number, you've only rolled out like 1 million meters. So you are well behind. And so you have to import. It's almost like this food situation we're seeing with palliatives, where we have a declaration of emergency declaration or food emergency situation with Nigeria, and we don't even have enough food. We have to import. So for you to import, for the companies that either import them or need the parts to make them here, those parts have to be imported. You've got to price them appropriately. Anything you're importing now, the dollar rate is going to be in. By the way, dollar now is back up to 920 something levels at the parallel market. So it's all quite costly. And these are the things that anybody who is coming to invest in the power sector is going to look at. But it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity. If you're out there and you can provide meters at scale, then holla at the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission. Show your workings that you can do it, import them in bulk. There's an opportunity to make some. There's always an opportunity to make some money,
I see what you did there. Holla at your boy, but it's okay, Rotus. Your clients are waiting for you right now. From David, I've got David here waiting. He says, Rotus, and it says, how do you think the tribunal decision will affect investments, money market instruments, and bonds?
Yeah, again, I don't think in fact affected much, because the only way investors would be scared is if a reversal of the decision would have led to a reversal in policy. So if you know that somebody who is going to go in the opposite direction of what we're seeing now, fuel subsidy removal, exchange rate liberalization, that's the only way markets would have been spooked. But I think pretty much a lot of people, I didn't think the outcome was going to be any different. So markets didn't really, you won't see much reaction because it was priced in already.
Then Yinka Bolu comes in this morning saying, I think I sort of like the vibes coming from India, especially the potential $3 billion coming into the steel sector. Also, the updates from Bosun Telecom wise is also good. In all, we are optimistic. Not sure we had this under Buhari.
No, there's no need to be not sure. No, we didn't, Yinka, we didn't have it. We did not. Zero, nothing. We're in the wilderness for 8 years. So, yeah.
Rotus. All right, you had to just quash the fire instantly, like don't even start it in the first place. There wasn't any spark.
Don't even go there. Don't even go there at all.
Let's see how this one from Baba Tunde Alao would look like. He said, while I agree with the 3 major aspirants had the same policy direction, but the approach could have been different. Atiku maintained the sale of refinery, while Obi suggested systematic removal of subsidy. Tinubu draconian approach melted serious suffering on the populace. I strongly believe there could be a better approach to subsidy removal. And then it goes on, bringing in CNG is to that compressed natural gas is not a bad idea, but Ajaokuta still is not active. We are still part of for power. Then how can the manufacturer find Nigeria a profitable venture? Rotus, I maintain the issue of systematic approach. That's it.
A fair point. That's a fair point. A lot of people have said that they wished that there was a more systematic approach. But I think the issue is that there just wasn't any money, and any systematic approach that goes into a phased removal of subsidy means you're still paying it down the line. And you got labor people and their strikes. There was a strike yesterday, or 2-day warning strike. Nobody noticed. But fair point. All the fair point. Great messages as usual.
Well, Rotus, that's a wrap on the show this morning. Even though I see Babatunde Alao still typing, Igu type tire. But anyway, Rotus, it's a wrap.
Omas, thank you so much. I'll catch you guys tomorrow.
Have a great day, Rotus. Bye.
Take care. Take
Okay,
care.
that's Rotus now. Oddiri on the show. We'll be back here tomorrow again. So do well to keep a date with him. My name is Omatseye Atsenuwa. Good morning.